Right, so the question I have is, how good can you get at a thing if you do it and only it for a year? I'm going to start answering that question, or attempting to answer that question, with this channel and the activity that I'm using to try and answer that question for this first year is chess. So I have quit my job, and this is day one of 365 days of full-time chess. Training it, playing it, doing puzzles, working with a coach hopefully, going to club games, like club nights, playing tournament games, lots of different kinds of chess. And I will try and chronicle it on this channel. Don't know if it's going to be more live streams or more videos summarizing my time. We'll figure that out as it goes. And most of the stuff that's gonna come out of this is currently unknown. I don't really know what it's gonna look like. So I have an idea for how I'm gonna train, but it will change with advice from people who know much more than me. I will aim to do at least a video a day, so I'll try and give a little video summary, like a little video diary summary of how the last day went, what I'm thinking about today, that kind of thing. And it's going to be quite heavily focused on what it means, what it takes to be an adult trying to learn a lot quickly, and whether or not adults are any less good, or to what extent adults are less good at learning than children. The received wisdom seems to be that children are sponges. They just listen to you saying something and they remember it, or they understand the concept and they never forget that concept. Children are probably quite sponge-like, and I think that adults might be spongy as well, but we're just also busy. You have family, you have job, you have lots of commitments that children just don't have. If you're a 2-year-old child, you're pretty much just learning to speak and learning how emotional adults handle themselves. You don't have much on, whereas as an adult you have lots on. So I'm hoping that me quitting my job, committing to this full time, will give me that singular focus and allow me to learn much quicker than I would be able to otherwise. Obviously, I will be putting in, oh my goodness, that was a grouse or a pheasant. They love to just fly in front of the car. Yeah, so obviously I'll be putting in 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60, I don't know, a lot of hours into playing chess and learning how to play chess. So that will afford me some increase in speed of learning. But I also think that the fact that I'll be focused on that and only that, obviously some YouTube content, but I'm going to try and make it minimal editing, minimal work. Not because I'm lazy, but because I'd like for this to be the experiment of focusing on one thing. So this is like me driving back from a swim. This shouldn't really take away from my focus. That's the idea anyway, who knows. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I will start today, and I will start probably live streaming. We've got dogs on either side of the road. Hello. Hello. And I'll probably do a weekly summary. Probably do mostly live streaming. Again, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know what this looks like yet. But this is day 1, week 1, out of 365 days. And that's 365 days in total, including breaks. So if I have, basically it'll end on the 14th of November 2023. 2024! That was yesterday. 2024. I have a year from today. Okay, so I'm back home. We're now looking at the types of things I could do. I've got like a time tracker app. Means that I can keep an eye on how much I'm doing of each of these things. It's easy to think, I just did a day of work. I just did 8 hours of work. And then you look actually at your time tracking and you realize you did 4 hours and you drank coffee and went for lunch for quite a long time. So there are sections here. Analyzing games is very important. I've come across this in many pieces of advice. Don't just play games, analyze your games. Okay. Drill middle games. So there's 3 macro stages of a chess game. You've got the opening, when you sort of get your pieces out. The middle game, once the pieces are out, that's sort of the beginning of the middle game. And there are different definitions of when the middle game ends. Some people think as soon as your queens are off the board, you trade queens, the middle game is over. And some people are more, like including rooks, maybe rooks have to come off more than one set of the knights or the bishops. I don't know. I'm not really that important. Not that important. And then lastly down here, I haven't included endgames, so I should include endgames as well. I should be good spot. So I'll add endgames as well. Okay, so play blindfold games. You don't have to actually wear a blindfold, but you can basically play a game of chess either looking at an empty board and sort of clicking, remembering where the pieces are on the board, or literally just sort of eyes closed or not looking at a board at all, and you say the moves. So bishop d2, and your opponent says, you can't move your bishop there, you don't know how to play blindfold chess. But that's very good for calculation, very good for learning to get a sense of the board without just having to stare at it and go, oh yeah, I am in check, I am being attacked. Play online games, there's going to be a lot of that. I've just done almost 2 hours of that today. Play OTB games, that stands for over the board. So real game with real pieces like chess used to be exclusively. Read books, so chess is just a world of, in the world of chess, there are a lot of books, lots and lots of advice. You can have whole books about one tiny variation of one opening. It's just very specific. Solve puzzles. If you've not played chess before or you've not tried to improve at chess, you may not have come across puzzles. Puzzles are really fun, and we're going to do one in a second. Puzzles are like one position, usually from a real chess game, where there's one clear idea in that position, which is the best idea. And when you first play puzzles, I think a lot of people have this where they're like, mate, that's a bit subjective. Maybe there's more than one good idea. I think I'll find a good idea myself. I think I'll find a better idea. But you often realize, okay, no, I see that this idea leads to checkmate, or this idea leads to me winning a piece or getting just an incredibly better position than any other option. So it's usually a tactic, which is I'm gonna have to start like I'm here to tell you how to play chess. I won't even try to define a tactic, but it's more like a little trick you can play in a position rather than a long strategic positional idea. God, I'm not going to start defining things. I need to start reading the dictionary. Okay, they're fun. Puzzles are fun. We're going to do one in a second. Study master games. So games played by the best players in the world in history. You often look at the games from the world champions in years gone by to get an idea of like, oh wow, you can do this. I've never even thought of that. And the best players in the world now are basically standing on the shoulders of giants and doing other things like being incredibly smart and putting loads of effort in, well practiced. But they're also looking at their history of the people who've gone before them and learning from their mistakes and learning from their genius. Lastly, training openings.
I already mentioned that. You can basically, people get really obsessed about openings because they have so much control. This is one of the reasons anyway. They have so much control. Everything starts in this way, and if they can remember 20 moves of this opening, they can just like beat anyone because they've just remembered what this computer has told them to play or what this grandmaster has told them to play. I've never been at all interested in openings, but I've got to sort of force myself. I'm sort of opposite, I think, from most people in that particular regard. All right. So this morning or today, I have done a couple of hours of online games. Played on Lichess, playing a rapid time control, so anywhere from like starting with 10 minutes on your clock to starting with 30 minutes on your clock. Every time it's your turn to make a move, your clock goes down. Okay, so what I've done is I've started working with a lovely man called Dag Nielsen, and he has, after he heard that I was doing this, he offered his support. He is a very good chess player. He is a maths teacher and a chess coach, and he said he would work with me a little bit. And we've just started. We've had a couple of sessions together. He has sent me some homework. So the homework is look at this puzzle. It's black to move. I haven't looked at it at all. I thought it would be good for me to. The whole point of this is that I'm learning in front of you. So I don't know what the answer to this is. And the part of the homework is I need to just remember this whole position. So I need to look at this and be able to, in an hour and a half when me and Dag are going to speak, I need to be able to replicate this position with an empty board or even just completely blindfolded where I say, okay, the black queen is on E5. That took me a while. So I'm not sure how much to sort of go into the detail. I don't know if there's any chance that anyone watching this won't play chess, but I think there's a decent chance. The whole point of this is it's something for people who are it's for people who are interested in watching someone try and get really good at something when I have no sort of real natural aptitude in it. So yeah, there's a decent chance. I will explain some basics. If you know chess, then obviously skip. So there are 64 squares on a chessboard, and in this position, the numbers and the letters which represent these squares are sort of upside down because it's always from white's perspective. So if I open a new tab, okay, let's do from white's perspective. Okay, from here you have A1 on the bottom left, and then the letters go from left to right. So each column has its own letter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then each row has its own number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for example, this square here is F4. I won't go into any more detail. You can Google it if you want to know any more. And there's a good chance when I try and explain stuff like this in the future, I might get it wrong. So don't see me as a sort of oracle. I'm not an oracle. All right, let's go. So it's black to move. All I've been told from Dag is that there are two decent tries for white, like decent first moves, or on the surface they're decent moves, and for me to figure out which one isn't actually a decent move, which one doesn't work, and then once you've figured out the correct move, try and work out all the best ways that white could defend or react to that. Excuse me. All right, I am a bit awkward, like thinking with the camera on me. I will get used to it, but yeah, sitting quietly and thinking about a puzzle whilst being recorded is weird for me at the moment. I'll get used to it, I'm sure. So my first thought is my first thought is that white is attacking my queen. I am playing the black pieces. So with the rook, and I wouldn't want that to happen. because it's not even defended. But even if it was, I don't want my queen to be taken. So my first thought is I'm going to scoot over here, not only getting rid of the attack on my queen, but also creating a threat of checkmate in one. Now, white will see that and probably just play this move. I could check, but then you could attack my knight. Oh, no. That is defended, so that wouldn't attack my knight. It would, but it's defended. One thing that I think is good to do in puzzles is to notice what's happening in the position. Try not to solve it straight away. I get into the habit. I accidentally start trying to solve it straight away, but things to notice, because then they end up becoming relevant. So this bishop is eyeing up my queen. Even though it's got a knight in front of it, it is sort of, people call it X-raying. So it's looking through the knight to my queen, and that's not good for my queen. This is obviously the major threat. What else is happening? So this bishop is eyeing up this square, which could become relevant. We sort of spoke about that happening. This is an intersection square. Two of my pieces are eyeing up what is H3. H, and then 1, 2, 3. So that could become relevant. This rook, my rook, is attacking F2, the F2 pawn. Again, could become relevant. Just noticing stuff in the position, not trying to solve it. My knight does have a check on that square. Even though a pawn could take it, it is a possibility to give a check, and that's a forcing move. White could not start taking my queen if I gave a check. They could just take the knight there. So, yeah, I'm still not going to try and find those two moves yet that Dag suggested me to do. Just because I feel like I would be a bit premature. Okay, let's consider this. I'm going to put the moves on the board, but only after I think it through. So I'm going to try and do it without putting the moves on the board. I will put the arrows on the board just for now because it's our first puzzle together, and I think that would be beneficial. So I'm going to try this because it was my first thought and I haven't seen anything better, and I think I've noticed all the things I'm going to notice just for now. So Queen G5 check. Now I'm going to do this line where white defends by pushing this pawn forward, so I can't give checkmate. There is also this available, so I will come back to that. So G3, attacking my knight. But not really yet, because it couldn't take, if I didn't do anything, like if I just moved the bishop after that, it couldn't take there. If I do that, no, that. I can't make a red one. There we go. It couldn't do that because the queen is pinning that pawn to the king. It can't put it. White can't put itself into check. So after that, want to give a check. Because that opens up this rook that we said was looking at that pawn. So just to summarize, we've got queen g5, threatening checkmate, pawn g3, g2 to g3, stopping checkmate, knight h3 check, and then if the king comes up, we can give another check. The king now only has one legal move. Gets complicated. So if the king goes into the corner to h8, h1, sorry. I'm thinking about this. So the rook's here. The knight's here. And and the king's in the corner, if I could get my queen to here, that would be checkmate. So I'm looking at how to do that. This pawn's here covering this square, so I can't go here. The queen's here, by the way. And I can't go here. Well, I can, but this queen covers it. So I want to go here. But then this knight's still in the way. But if that in that situation, can white do anything? White's king can't move out of the way. This is where I'm terribly weak. This is probably my weakest point. I'm so enamored by my own move, or I'm like, this just works. I win. This is amazing. That I struggle to find the best move for white. So this is where a big part of what I need to work on. Okay, I'm going to put it on the board because it's getting too complicated for me. That's not what I'm meant to do. Okay, let's try and put it on the board. This. I know there's so many variations that I'm missing here, but I'll come back to them. I can't do them all at once, obviously. Check. Only move. If here, well, let's just look now that we can see it. I mean, I could go here. I don't know really what it does, but you can't take because that's checkmate. But let's just try this. Let's try this. I want to move that knight in a second and give checkmate. Is there a way? Yeah, maybe there's a way. Just this. Chess is so difficult. Okay, that's too slow. I think that move that I just made, the queen move, is too slow, which means it's not forcing enough. It doesn't keep the initiative. I'm giving white enough time to sort everything out. This pretty much sorts everything out. If I go, aha, I'm going to give you checkmate in this move, white can just say, no, you're not going to do that. So in this position, I think we need something better. Maybe that does something then. Maybe that does something because it covers that square. So what can white do here? Again, the threat is to go here and give checkmate. Still a bit slow. It might give white the time to do what white wants to do. What if white just comes in and says, okay, if you go here, I'll go here. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because the knight's covering it. Woo! Okay, that's pretty cool. So that doesn't work. Is there anything else white can try? This seems very complicated though. I can totally imagine going to Dag and saying, look what I've done. The knight comes here to g4. The pawn can't take it, Dag. The pawn can't take it, don't worry. I'm a genius, as you can see on the board. I feel like it's a bit complicated. That's not the move. Certainly not. Queen e4. Delete from here. Okay. Okay, h6 doesn't work. So let's go knight to d4 first thing. Okay, let's go from the beginning. That's okay. We'll come back to that. We could do the bishop move like I said before to defend that pawn. But in that world where they push and they check, oh, there's so many variations. Okay, so let's just cover a couple of variations first. I did this and gave a check. But if instead white did that, then they lose their queen because it's a fork. This knight hits the king, and it hits the queen. Amazing. Winning a queen. If I win a queen in a puzzle, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to carry on. That's a winning line. For me, it's always difficult to know when you've said, no, that's fine, I'm winning there. I think winning a queen is pretty good. If instead white goes here, then that's pretty awful for white. I think that's checkmate. Yes. So actually the line that I put on the board was the best line, the best try for white. And I went straight in with the check. I could do that knight move now because it's check and the pawn can't take. But I feel like that just blocks my rook, which is quite happy to have a lovely sight of this pawn. And right now I can even take it. I'm hard pressed. I'm hard pressed not to take that pawn. That's got to be taken. It's the only move for white. Okay, I think this is a pretty good line. Ooh, oh, now I'm spotting something. Okay, and that could be covered like that though. I got excited. Ooh, okay. This this king is in a world of trouble. It can't get to any of those squares. It's trapped in the corner. Okay. If it's trapped in the corner, all I need to do is hit it, attack it once without it being blocked, and we're in good shape. So I could, in this position, instead of doing all that nonsense like this to try and get to that pawn, I could actually let's not bother with these bishop moves. So in this position, if I could get my queen to here, it would be attacking that king. Two problems. There's a pawn, my pawn, on that square, so I can't go there now, and that knight's there. I could maybe solve those two problems. It's not quite working. I could solve it by doing that. White would likely hit my queen and my rook and block this diagonal in one move. I could then say, well, yes, you are blocking it, but no, that's not working. That's not working. One thing I haven't noticed is that I am winning this bishop if I want it. But what I didn't do at the beginning of this whole thing, which I should have done, is counted the material. White has two rooks, a queen, a bishop and a knight, and 5 pawns. I have 2 rooks, a queen, a bishop and a knight. Well, they have an extra bishop. So me getting that bishop in this line is actually just equaling material in this line. It would just make the material equal. It wouldn't get me anywhere. And it gives white time to sort of consolidate and sort themselves out. Is this still recording? Magic. I had some issues with the camera not recording for brilliant. For longer than 13 minutes. Okay, so that's not the way. That's not the way. Why? Get out of the town. I don't want these arrows. Delete from here. Delete from here. Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay. This seems to be a very important position. Let's look at this line again then. If this and this, then this takes and you've got 3 options. Three options to take back. Ah, sorry. I'll get better at drawing arrows. And I'll pick the color scheme as well. I'm thinking just yellow for opponent's move, green for my moves, and then if there's a mistake, red. Oh, there's blue as well, isn't there? I think blue for opponent moves. Green and blue. So, let's go one by one. If this No, I can't get it to work. Maybe this comes across. And if takes, then takes. And what I've done there is I've got rid of this bishop, basically, and this knight, and this rook. So now... So, attack. The reason the queen can't go somewhere else is because that's mate. That's checkmate. So, I think if you block with this, then I can try and get to that square again and give checkmate. And it's just not great because this queen is now just a pin. So I think you're going to block with the bishop because the bishop creates an attack itself. So bishop, and then what did I say? Takes. Well, that kind of petered out, didn't it? We had me just sort of going over the last bits and getting a bit stuck at the end, so I thought I'd cut that out. Okay, so for the rest of the day, I had a chat with Dag. So we had a meeting about that puzzle, and that meeting lasted 2.5 hours. 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours, not 2.5 hours, that would be crazy. But still 1.5 hours, given all the time I spent on it just then. You can see that one position is enough to really chew on for a long time, and I will go through some of the things that he was able to point out and help me notice. You can tell I'm a bit tired, I can barely think. And I will go through a little bit of that tomorrow. It won't take too long, don't worry about it. And then I had a chat. I'm gonna spill the beans here. I'm gonna really name drop. I had a conversation with Eric Rosen afterwards. I'm actually quite excited. So we are likely to be working together. He's going to be my coach, which is ridiculous. It's not lost on me. Don't you worry. It's not lost on me. That's bloody crazy. So I hope you don't. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying. Yeah, he won't mind me saying. He won't mind me saying. So yeah, it's too late for me to. It's too late now. I've already said it. So hopefully that'll be a great thing for us to work together on. Can't wait for that. And that's about it. Tomorrow I'll go for another swim. I'll say hello to you then. Editing's this is me. This is cranky me now. I'm editing. It's bloody bedtime, isn't it? Come on, it's bedtime. Let's go to bed. You're probably not watching this. Who's watching this? It's a very long video. I've got very few subscribers. This is the first. You're not watching this. No one's watching this. Go to bed. Sleep well. Good night.